Good morning, everybody. This is Mike Brennan here at the National Hurricane Center. It's about 8:15 Sunday morning Pacific time, 11:15 Eastern Daylight Time with an update on what's going on in the tropics. I'm going to first focus on what's now Tropical Storm Hilary. Impacts are beginning to increase across Southern California and into the western United States. Then I'll touch on some of the activity that's going on in the Atlantic Basin. But Hilary is a tropical storm. The center is here just off the west coast of the Baja California Peninsula. But I've zoomed out to show you this satellite imagery. You can see these cold cloud tops showing all this moisture streaming well northward of the center of Hilary across Southern California and well up into the western United States as the strong upper level winds are pulling that moisture. So we're northward, and we're starting to see rainfall begin to increase across portions of Southern California. And rainfall, as we've talked about the last couple of days, is going to be the biggest hazard for this storm. It's what we're most concerned about. You can see rainfall increasing this morning across the Los Angeles Basin out into the deserts of southeastern California. You can see some heavier rainfall here down near the center of Hilary that's starting to move northward out of Baja California to the north, and will be moving into Southern California over the next 18 to 24 hours. And we are very concerned, we continue to be very concerned about the potential for life-threatening flash flooding, potentially catastrophic impacts, especially here in this purple area you see where we have a high risk of flash flooding. That's in the areas of the deserts and the mountains of Southern California. We'll zoom in there a little more in a minute and talk specifics. We have a moderate risk of flash flooding over places like Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Diego, to the east of Bakersfield up into central Nevada, and a broad slight risk with that potentially heavy rainfall moving all the way up into portions of the northern Rockies and into the eastern portions of the Pacific Northwest. Now we'll zoom in here in Southern California where we're most concerned, and the period of greatest concern is going to be from late this afternoon out in West Coast time, overnight tonight and into early Monday morning. And this area that we're highlighting in purple here are places like eastern San Diego County, Riverside County, places like Palm Springs, much of San Bernardino County, Barstow, 29 Palms, northern Los Angeles County, Palmdale, up into the Death Valley area to the west of Las Vegas. That's where we could see the highest risk of that life-threatening flash flooding. And even to make it even more dangerous is the heaviest rainfall and flooding potential is going to largely occur overnight tonight. So you want to be in your safe place, certainly no later than this afternoon. Please try to not be out and about tonight. It's very dangerous to be out in flooded conditions at night. You can't see if water covers a roadway. You can't see if there's a bridge or a road that's been washed out. I mean, we could see significant impacts even on major highways like Interstate 10, Interstate 8, Interstate 40. Major roads, and then any of the roads that go into the Southern California mountains and out into the deserts, we could see washed out roads and certainly road closures overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Again, that moderate risk of flash flooding here in the red covers the urban areas of Los Angeles, Orange County, and down to San Diego. So everyone needs to be on alert for that. Again, the rainfall totals we're looking at are 3 to 6 inches, widespread totals with isolated amounts as high as 10 inches, especially here in the mountains of Southern California. Some of that rainfall is going to fall very quickly, and some of these rainfall totals for some of these places are the amount of rainfall they might typically get in an entire year that's going to fall in just a matter of hours. So those rainfall impacts are going to be increasing during the day today. If you've been asked to evacuate, there have been some targeted evacuation orders given in portions of Southern California. Please follow those, and please have your emergency kit ready. So if you're asked to leave your house in the event of rising water, you have what you need to take with you: food, medicine, water, and you know where you're going to go and how you're going to get there in the next 24 to 36 hours. Again, that broader flood risk here, everywhere in green is under some type of flood watch. Most of the state of Nevada, even extending into portions of southwestern Utah and western Arizona and up into portions of Idaho. Again, a couple of reminders about flood alerts that you might see in the next 24 hours or so. A flash flood warning is issued when dangerous flooding is happening or is expected to begin soon. This is going to be cases where roads will be flooded, homes and businesses may flood. So, have multiple ways to get emergency information as you go into today and into tonight. Make sure wireless emergency alerts are turned on your phone. Have a NOAA weather radio. Have multiple ways to get emergency information, especially overnight if you're going to be asleep. You want to have something that'll wake you up, particularly if you have a flash flood emergency issued. And this is for the rarest of circumstances when there's a severe threat to human life and catastrophic flooding. It's certainly possible we could have some flash flood emergencies issued later today and overnight tonight in portions of these areas. Now, we'll move on to talk about the track and the wind threat associated with Hilary. You can see the large wind field here shown in orange. We have tropical storm warnings in effect for much of the Baja California Peninsula still, Southern California coastline all the way up through Los Angeles, Catalina Island. The center of Hilary is going to be moving into Southern California by late this afternoon, West Coast time, and then will dissipate over the Intermountain West as we move into the overnight hours and early morning. But again, remember, the wind and the rain are all moving out well in advance of the center. This is the area covered by the tropical storm warning, includes all of Los Angeles County, San Diego County, Orange County, western portions of Riverside, San Bernardino counties. Most concerned about the gustiest, strongest winds at higher elevation, where we certainly could see some damaging winds. And then we have a broader risk of strong gusty winds, and these areas shown in this sort of dark orange here are under high wind warnings, and especially, again, 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts, especially in higher elevations, could result in some difficult driving, some damage, power outages, and things like that as well. I do want to touch briefly on the tornado threat. There is a risk of tornadoes in places like out here in the Mojave Desert, lower Colorado River Valley, southeastern California, particularly in this yellow area. We could have a couple of tornadoes later today and into tonight. So that's the latest on Tropical Storm Hilary. Now I'm going to focus in on what's going on in the Atlantic Basin. We have several features we're watching. We actually have a new tropical storm, Tropical Storm Emily, that's formed this morning out over the far eastern Atlantic, Tropical Depression 6 to the east of the Lesser Antilles. Both of these systems are expected to be relatively short-lived and will not be tropical depressions or tropical storms for more than another day or two. However, we still have two other features that we're watching that could be impactful to land areas here within the next few days. We have an area of disturbed weather here in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico that's going to move westward toward the Texas coast, and we have an area of low pressure that's forming here in the southeastern Caribbean Sea that could bring impacts to portions of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Hispaniola, and then move into the southwestern Atlantic over the next couple of days. So we'll first start with the system in the Gulf. It has a 50% chance of becoming a tropical depression over the next several days. It's going to move quickly westward toward the western Gulf Coast. The most likely impacts will be potentially several inches of rainfall as we move into the Tuesday to Wednesday timeframe as this system moves toward the coast. And the most likely area to get those rainfall impacts will be deep South Texas and portions of northern Mexico. As we move into the Caribbean, this system has an 80% chance of becoming a tropical depression during the next 7 days, a 70% chance in the next 2 days, and it's going to generally turn northward and then northeastward and bring potentially heavy rainfall to portions of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico, we could see some areas receive as much as 4 to 6 inches of rain, especially in the eastern and southern parts of the island. So this system will bear watching. We have a NOAA Hurricane Hunter mission that will be flying into this system this afternoon to give us a better idea of if a tropical depression has formed there. And so certainly stay tuned for more information on both of these systems from the National Hurricane Center here and from your local National Weather Service office or your local meteorological service from for other countries in the Caribbean region. Just going back to Hilary again, be sure you find your safe place to stay later today, tonight, and into Monday. Listen to advice you're given by your local officials. You do not want to be out driving around trying to cross flooded roads on a vehicle or on foot. Rainfall flooding has been the biggest killer in tropical storms and hurricanes in the United States in the last 10 years, and you don't want to become a statistic in the aftermath of this storm. So please stay safe and stay tuned for more updates from the National Hurricane Center. I'm Mike Brennan.